Hey friend, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. If you've been following my channel, you may know that recently I went to the Renaissance Festival in Tennessee. It is held every year for every Saturday and Sunday in the month of May. And I took a little bit of video around the festival because it's just a cool experience. If you've never been to a Renaissance Festival, I highly recommend it. They are all over the country. Heck, they are all over the world. But one of the reasons I'm doing this as voiceover commentary is, one, these are artists that I'm going to be showing you, and a lot of the way they make money is in the banter they have with the crowd. So I don't want to give away, all of the mystery, but just show you some of the cool things that we saw. The first guy here, his name is Paulo Garbanzo, is his stage name. He is a juggler, and he is an absolutely hilarious performer. He does a good job interacting with the crowd. He gets a lot of banter going back and forth. We went and saw his different shows a couple of times, and I've actually seen him at different Ren Fest around the country. He is a certified court jester. Like, that's a real thing. So he is super impressive. But really, this is just a look at all of the cool sights and sounds of the day. Of course, the best part is the jousting. I always try to make a point when I go to the Tennessee Renaissance Festival to go to the jousting. I don't know if technically jousting is Renaissance. I thought that took place in the medieval times, but I'm no historian. What I love about the jousting setup they have at the Tennessee Ren Fest is this is actually an organization of folks who are, they raise prize horses specifically for this purpose, but they also come with their own armor. They are very well versed in the historicity of jousting and the pageantry and what it was for, and they do replications of different games. And yes, they do real jousting with the lances. But again, I'm kind of voicing over this because for you to get the full experience, you've got to go experience a Renaissance Festival. So the way the Tennessee Renaissance Festival is set up, there is a gentleman in the state who is just passionate about that period of history, and he actually built his private home as a castle. It's called Castle Gwyn, which apparently the root word of that in Old language and Old English, it meant white, so it's called the White Castle, basically. And you can take a tour of certain parts of that, which we did this year. But on his property, he, over the past 40, 50 years, really, built out the fairgrounds. So now every year for a month, his home, his private property is opened up to the Renaissance Festival. Now the Tennessee Renaissance Festival itself has become something that the county that this is located in, it's located in Arrington, Tennessee. Now the county runs it. So a few things are different because the gentleman who owns the land, who's been running the festival and putting it on for so many years, he's getting up there in years, and he's done his work, and it is time for him to enjoy his retirement. But it's a good thing that is still going on. If you have an interest in history, pageantry, or just stuff that's cool, definitely check it out. This first game we were able to record. They have the goal of actually trying to do a touch on a target that is very small, riding their horses basically at full speed. When you're there in person, it is so spectacular because the horses are massive. You can hear the armor from far away, and they've also got pages there who helping them control the horses, get things going in the right direction. And each one of the gentlemen that you see who is riding, I recognize some of them because I've gone to the Tennessee Renaissance Festival a few times over the years. Some of them had to have been doing this for 20 or 30 years, and they don't just do this at the Tennessee Ren Fest. I have seen them at one in Alabama. I've seen a couple of them at one in Texas. I've seen them even up north in New England. I forget which state. I want to say it was New Hampshire that they were doing a Renaissance Festival, and they came out to do the demonstration of the jousting games. Jousting is one of those topics that when you study it out, it's pretty interesting why it happened. we're humans. We like the gladiatorials. Fortunately, in the jousting that takes place at the Ren Fest, there's not going to be a chance of anyone permanently losing themselves. So as the games continue, our fine gentlemen who are knights, you see those extra flags set up around the ring there. Those represent different sections that are cheering specifically for a knight. So they introduce themselves to their section. They give you a cheer or a chant for them when they are winning, and they just really do a good job of getting the crowd to participate. The last event that they do, of course, is the one that everyone wants to see. It's the jousting with the lances, which is particularly why I like it. They do such a good job here that each joust, they do, I think, 4 a day. So 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday. They do a series of games at first, which they're still doing here. I think they're doing the set of 3 where they have to, put the sword through a target, knock something off, and then they've got to throw their sword or spear into a bale of hay at the end. It's real, and it's hard. So they have chainmail on, they have full helmets on, full body plate. I participate in the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism, and we do, combat in heavy maiden plate, and heavy plate and chainmail, if I can speak. And it's difficult. So now you see the pages handing the lances, and these are real. I do believe they're designed to break away so nobody gets too hurt. But the goal is to get that tip to tip on the lances so that they do that spectacular shatter, or to get tip to shield, and they lay on at full speed. This is one of my favorite events. And then, whoo, they both lost a lance, and they ride back to the opposite ends, grab the next lance, and then they're going to reverse and do it again. I believe they have 4 transitions, 4 turns in all. So the goal is to get the other knight's lance to shatter, to knock it out of their hand, or to get a touch upon their shield or breastplate. So once they're ready, they make their turn, and then the horses ride on at full speed. And now, I'm not an equestrian. I've never really, done horses as a hobby. I've got several friends who own horses. It's quite a hobby. So you can imagine that the folks who do this, they're not just devoting a lot of time. It's an expensive hobby. I don't know what these horses cost, but I do know what the armor cost. When people are really into these types of hobbies, or they're really into the history, they do what it takes, and you can tell that they really enjoy giving the audience a good show. They enjoy the excitement. They enjoy hearing the little kids go, ooh, ah. They enjoy all the cheers, and that's why they do it. Some of them have family members who come to help out with the horses and whatnot. They are all professionals down on the field. No, just random volunteers helping with this kind of thing, because also there is the element of danger as well. But jousting, always a favorite. One of the things I love about the Tennessee Renaissance Festival is there's always a chance to hear a lot of musicians. But again, I'm muting the audio because YouTube is weird about audio, and I don't know if I could have played any of these songs for you and the video stayed up or not. But because it's in Tennessee and Arrington is only about 45 minutes outside of Nashville, you will get a lot of really impressive musicians who put together groups that do this kind of touring. Now, some folks go to every single Renaissance festival that they can get to, and they put on their show. Some are only doing things local for the month. I've actually seen this group perform several times in a couple of places, but they tend to stick around the Southeast, and then a lot of them are running booths throughout the festival grounds. But you've got to love the costuming. You got to love Robin Hood there on the far right. Just the commitment to the bit is everything. And in this particular Renaissance Festival, because of where it's located right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, you are going to get some of the best music that you can possibly get in a Renaissance setting, because there are so many great musicians located there. I can tell you that the entry for the Renfest this year was $35 per person per adult. There are some couple of extra events that you can pay for, which we did one day. We did the Queen's Tea, but it's $35 a day per person. I know they've got pricing as far as if you want a weekend pass or a month pass to come back and do extra things. 2 days was enough for us to do everything we wanted to do. On the first day, we kind of, went around and saw a lot of the shopping and went to a lot of the booths, to get stuff that we wanted. We hung out with the kids that day because they could only make it for one day. And we saw some of the side shows that were scheduled. But you will find, if you choose to go to the Renfest, there's going to be a lot of musicians scheduled. And unless you go for at least 2 days, you probably won't get to see every single show that is there. And that's only because there's just, there's only so much you can fit into a day. You can't see everything. I spent an entire week at Disney World, like 9 days, like more than a week. Yeah, I was there physically for 9 days a couple years ago, and I saw a lot, but I still didn't see everything. So definitely take the time to explore all of the musicians. I had considered just singing over the track because I know the song, but I don't think y'all would enjoy my singing nearly as much as you would enjoy actually being able to hear these folks. Yes, I know the ATM flag in the background kind of kills the atmosphere, but we got to be able to pull out cash in order to buy the things. But again, I really appreciate the commitment to the period. You will see that most people who attend Renfest, not required, but most who attend are going to be in costume. Now, here's the thing about Renfest costumes. I went to school. You went to school. We know when the Renaissance happened, but you will find that all kinds of cosplay and nerdity are included under the umbrella title of Renfest. You will find fairies. You will find trolls and elves. Pirates are definitely a huge favorite. We dressed as pirates one day. That was super fun. Really enjoy that outfit. It's one of my favorites to pull out for any type of Renfesty type garb. It's also an easy, quick costume. But it's kind of a catch-all for all things nerddom that don't really fit into another category. So if you're into the swashbuckling, the knighting, the old period music, that type of thing, you can find a home at Renfest. Now, this is one of the cool things we did. This is taking that tour to Castle Gwen. You got to hop on a bus and then take a ride. I'm a little weird about filming people who never wanted to be filmed. So if that happens in public, I really try to go for backs of heads because I don't want to put people on the internet who never wanted to be on the internet. But Castle Gwen is so amazing. But I had to get the walk up to it. So remember I said that it was someone's private home? Look at this. This man built this, not himself. He's obviously hired contractors and the like, but he's built a beautiful medieval castle replica as his home. And for some reason, he's got a Batmobile out front. Why not? Hey, if he likes it, I love it. From one collector to another, I can absolutely appreciate what he's done here and having eclectic taste, because on this channel, we believe in being a well-rounded nerd. But it was so impressive to be up close because they've covered it in these huge stone slabs. You can tell he's been very careful to stay as accurate as possible. And I'm someone who's originally from Nashville, Tennessee, and I've known about this castle my entire life. I had actually never visited the castle, though, never once. I've been to Tennessee Renaissance Festival in my lifetime, maybe 8 or 10 times. I never went to go visit Castle Gwen. So this year, it was the first year I went with my now husband. So I said, hey, let's take the Castle Gwen tour. And you can take the tour with the price of admission. It doesn't cost any extra. And from what I understand, there's only a limited amount of years left, maybe a couple, that this tour will keep going on. There we are. You can see as my husband's got the yellow and that's me in the blue. But this is a room where he's got some of the artifacts that he's collected over the years. They told me the prices of some of those suits of armor in that room, and I nearly passed out. But it's really cool that, even for so long in his life, that he's had this place open. So this is the area that you can actually go in. There are gardens all around the castle. So we took a good look at the gardens, but I wanted to pull back and get the full view of how magnificent. So those big towers you see there, that part is actually private home. You don't go in there. You can see that it's there, but we're not going in anybody's house. But then we take the hike up the stairs to the part where you can do a little bit of viewing. Just look how gorgeously the grounds are kept. Again, I cannot believe he opens his home to people. It's so amazing that we still have people in nerdity, whether it's, you know, a Disney nerd, a Star Wars nerd, medieval nerd, doesn't matter, car nerds, you know, whatever kind of nerd you are. Especially if we want next generations to be interested in these things, we have to follow this example. Not everyone's going to build a castle and let them in, but where we can be a nice influence to the next generation to get them excited about what could be, what they could see and do with different hobbies. Like, I'm really passionate about Taekwondo. I love teaching children martial arts because it's my way of passing on that piece of human history into the next generation. I really love painting and doing Warhammer, that type of thing. When people want to play new games, I am all for getting them into that. Now, this is really cool. This is a room that's completely been done like a great hall. But one of the cool things about it is the gentleman's wife sits in here and she answers questions about all the stuff that they have. See if you can spot any characters he's put in the great hall. But he wanted people to be able to touch a piece of history. And he actually has a sword that had been dug up, excavated over in the UK. I can't remember which country it came from, but actually excavated out of the UK, that you can reach in and touch a piece of medieval history. And I think that is just the coolest thing, that he cares so much about this, that he made it to where you could literally put your hand on something that is hundreds of years old. We just took a little bitty stroll through the gardens at the end. Just wanted to show you what that's like. If you're familiar with the area as I am, we just wanted to walk to the gate and see what part of Highway Interstate 40, Interstate 40 that we were over. And yeah, I knew exactly where that was. It's just, you know, fun being someone who's from the area originally to take a look. But don't you feel like you're just floating through a mythical land? And they've done so much clearing. Again, being from the area, I can imagine how many trees and how overgrown this was before building started, before somebody lived here. So you can see the amount of work that's been done to cut back the woods, to make a huge clearing, and really give that feeling of grand lands around a castle. And then we pull back and we can see the entire castle view. Is that not magnificent? He is truly doing the Lord's work. Again, I tried to get some far shots because I didn't want to get people close up on camera who did not come out here to be in somebody's YouTube video. That matters to me. I don't like being filmed against my will, and I know other people aren't into that either. But just here is the courtyard, and there's a little gift shop in there. We did go ahead and get a couple of Castle Gwen mementos because, again, this is not something that's going to be available to the public during RenFest. Remember, I said earlier that he does deserve to enjoy. There are people who show up as professional cosplayers. I do love the Fairy Garden. I don't even know why. This is another one of our favorite shows. This is Buckle and Swash. I have seen them perform in different places, probably in my lifetime at least 15 times. They put on a good show. I don't know if they are brothers or friends or what have you, but you can tell that they are passionate about what they do. I especially love this show because they do a great job involving children in the show, giving them a role, keeping them laughing, and it's basically a pirate sword fight comedy routine. So when you go to RenFest, definitely go shopping, support all of the vendors. I get all of my best jewelry from Renaissance festivals and different kind of fairs, but go support these artists. Leave $1 in the tip bucket because a lot of them are not being paid by the facility to be there. They are being paid by the tips, and there is rehearsal, there are costumes, there's practice. Anytime we're able to enjoy the art that people produce, I personally believe, and if I am able, because everyone's not able, but if you're able to do something, so when the tip hat gets passed, throw a quarter in there, throw $1 in there, whatever you're able to do, because they work hard to provide this kind of entertainment. And again, I'm not giving the dialogue intentionally. I'm not giving the audio intentionally. intentionally because that is their art, that is proprietary to what they do. And if I was to give that out, then that could be somebody being able to take their lines and take their show. And I'm not going to be the person responsible for that. They did this really cute bit where they were trying to find out what happened to Mr. Fluffy the bunny, and he was finally saved. And then they have a sword fight about Mr. Fluffy going missing, and all of the children were just laughing and having a great time. Now, when it comes to the style of video, voiceover is not for everybody. You may have enjoyed this. You may have thought this was the most annoying video you ever watched, but I also want to give a little bit of perspective on how I do videos. I don't mind including all the audio and visuals together when the content is me, but this is not me. This is artwork that belongs to someone else. And while I do believe all artwork deserves to be shared, I also know that this is how they make their living. So I cannot take those words, that dialogue, those things that make this unique to them away from them. So that's why I chose to do the video this way. But I hope you enjoy this little bit of sword fighting that I did get to record. I didn't record their entire show. I just wanted to get a little bit in here. But you will notice that this is posting in July. RenFest has ended. We're going to open and close with my favorite performer, Parlo Garbanzo. He was hilarious, and there he is on the great ball of danger, juggling flaming, what were they, bowling ball pins? I don't know, torches of some kind, and one more shot of the jousting. There's a lot to see and experience at a Renaissance Festival. I highly recommend that you take a look at what's going on in your area, see what's happening locally, and make time to go out and experience. I have found that RenFest tend to be one of those places where nerds of all kind can congregate. I've even seen people dressed in the original Star Trek uniforms at RenFest, because remember, there was an episode where they went back to medieval times. So even Star Trek counts as costuming at a Renaissance Festival, and that's what makes these things great, is everybody is just all in, everyone is committed, and it's just one of those just fun, easier, non-judgmental times, and you get the opportunity to view just different artisans, craftsmen, performers, and vendors all in one spot who are unique in what they do, because they're not just passionate about the art that they create, but they're also passionate about a certain period in history and are willing to help educate and entertain at the same time. So this is a little bit different kind of a video. I'm trying out different things on my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for coming along on this little journey. As usual, I can't talk today. As usual, I'm going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this video format. Next time I do something like this, maybe I will record a little bit of the audio. It just depends on what's going on. But again, I like keeping the art in the ownership of the artist, rather than me owning it. So I'll end with a little bit of you at jousting, and hopefully if you enjoyed this video, I will see you in the next one. Thanks.